Hello everyone. Let us know more about the lesson, The Last Lesson, written by Alphonse Daudet. It is from the NCERT book for class 12, Flamingo. The presentation is prepared by Preeti Srivastav, PGT English, Kendriya Vidyalay, ONGC, Ankleshwar. Alphonse Daudet was one of the finest of French novelists, dramatists, and short story writer. He is best known for the role he played in the transition of 19th century theatre. The writer, who is fondly known as the French Dickens, mostly wrote sentimental tales of provincial life in southern France. Let's look at the background of the story. Set in the days of the Franco-Prussian War, in which France was defeated by Prussia, led by Bismarck. Prussia then consisted of what now are the nations of Germany, Poland, and parts of Austria. In this story, the French districts of Alsace and Lorraine have passed into Prussian hands. Let's learn a bit more. Prince of Bismarck, Duke of Lauenburg, known as Otto von Bismarck, was a conservative German statesman who masterminded the unification of Germany in 1871 and served as its first chancellor until 1890, in which capacity he dominated European affairs for 2 decades. The imperial territory of Alsace-Lorraine was a territory created by the German Empire in 1871. It annexed most of Alsace and the department of Lorraine following its victory in the Franco-Prussian War. Let's have a look at the main points. You must remember these main points. Number 1. Temptations for France. France was a little boy, a school-going boy. He did not want to go to school that day. The reason? He had not learnt the rule of participles. He was scared of his teacher, M. Hamel. That was a warm and bright day. He could listen to the chirping of birds. He could also listen to the drilling of Prussian soldiers. And all these appeared more tempting than the rule of participles. Therefore, France did not want to go to the school. These were the temptations for France. Number 2. Bulletin board. For the last 2 years, all the bad news was displayed on the bulletin board. The lost battles, the draft, the orders of the commanding officer. And that day a crowd gathered near the bulletin board. Little Franz wanted to stop there and find out what was going on. But the blacksmith taunted him. He told Franz that Franz shouldn't go very fast. There was plenty of time for him. He would reach school well in time. But actually Franz was getting late, so he hurried up. Franz reached school and was quite surprised to see everything was so different. Usually, there happened to be a great bustle. The opening and closing of desks, the sound would be heard. Lessons were repeated in unison, and the teacher's great ruler rapping on the table. These were the usual sounds Franz used to listen every day. But that day, everything was as silent as Sunday morning. Students were already in their places. Franz was surprised to see such unusual happenings at the school. Franz was even more surprised because M. Himmel spoke kindly to him. He told little Franz to go and take his seat. He was wearing his beautiful green coat, his frilled shirt, and the little black silk cap, all embroidered, that he never used to wear except on special occasions. And when Franz was unable to recite the lesson on participles, M. Himmel did not scold him at all. Franz was even more surprised. As he looked back, he saw that the elders of the village were occupying the back benches. Usually, the back benches were empty. He saw old Hauser with his three-cornered hat. He saw the former mayor also, the former postmaster as well, and several others. He was really surprised. But later he came to know that the elders had attended the class that day to thank M. Himmel for his 40 years of faithful service and of showing their unity and solidarity with their nation. Franz was taken aback when M. Himmel told the class that it was the last French lesson he was going to deliver that day. Orders had come from Berlin that there would be no more French teaching in the schools of France. The words of M. Himmel were thunderclap for little Franz. Last French lesson? He regretted for not learning lessons, for seeking birds' eggs or going sliding on the Saar. His books that had seemed such a nuisance a while ago, so heavy to carry, were old friends that he couldn't give up. M. Himmel was no longer cranky for him. On the roof, the pigeons cooed very low. Little Franz wondered, will they make them sing in German, even the pigeons? They here stand for Germans. M. Himmel expressed his feelings. He told that parents are not anxious enough to send children to school. In fact, they prefer to put them to work to earn money. He also blamed himself. He told that he often sent students to water his flowers, and he often gave them holiday when he wanted to go fishing. He told the class that French language is the most beautiful in the world, the clearest, the most logical. He urged that the French people must guard their own language and never forget. He also told that when people are enslaved, language is the key to their prison. M. Hamel sat motionless in his chair and gazing first at one thing, then at another, as if he wanted to fix in his mind just how everything looked in that little schoolroom. Then clock struck 12. The drilling of Prussian soldiers could be heard. M. Hamel couldn't speak. His voice was choked. He wrote on the board, Vive la France, long live France, and he made a gesture to all to depart. Let's have a look at few words and their meanings. Bustle, excited activity and movement. Unison, simultaneous performance or utterance of action or speech. Rapping, strike with a series of rapid audible blows, specially in order to attract attention. Commotion, state of confused and noisy disturbance. Drill, instruction or training in military exercises. Tremble, shake involuntarily, typically as a result of anxiety or excitement. Enslaved, cause someone to lose their freedom of choice or action. Solemn, characterized by deep sincerity. Here is an exercise on fill in the blanks with one word or one phrase. Ensure that you know all the answers. Go through these sentences and have a good learning. And these are few more. And these are few questions with short answers. Ensure that you know all the answers. Number 1. What was France supposed to learn that day? Second, what did France wish to do that day? Third, what did France see near the bulletin board? 4. Why do you think the crowd was gathered near the bulletin board? 5. What did the blacksmith tell France? 6. What did France find when he reached the school? 7. Where were the children of the school that day when France reached? 8. Which three sounds France couldn't hear that day? 9. What did M. Hamel say when he reached the door of the class? 10. What was unusual about the backbenches that day? 11. What was M. Hamel wearing that day? 12. Why was M. Hamel wearing his special dress that day? 13. What did M. Hamel tell the class which shocked France? 14. What orders had been received from Germany? 15. Which two districts of France were taken over by Germany? 16. Why had the elders attended the class that day? 17. Who did M. Hamel blame for the neglect of French language? 18. How did M. Hamel describe the French language? 19. Why did M. Hamel ask the people to guard their language? 20. What did Franz wonder about the pigeons? And the last 5. 21. What transformation came in France? 22. Why was everyone attentive during the class? 23. What was heard when the clock struck 12? 24. Why was M. Hamel unable to speak? And the last, what did M. Hamel write on the board? I repeat, ensure that you know all the answers. All the best. Thank you. You can contact me on the given details.